Hi water signs, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, Ascendant, Sun, Moon, Venus, Rising, and those cross-watching, welcome to your Tarot Love Messages. Today we're going to take a look at and see what will happen if the two of you come back together. Okay, so we'll see how the connection will go and which way will it go if the two of you reconnect. This is going to be a general reading, so please just keep that in mind. If you are after a personalized tarot reading with myself, please feel free to reach out and inquire. I will list my email just below the video here. So once again, this reading is intended for all water signs, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. Okay, with all of that being said, let's go ahead and get started. So what will happen if the two of you come back together, if you reconnect? Okay, this is interesting. You do have a fair bit of fire energy and a fair bit of air energy in the chart. So some of you may be romantically involved with a fire sign, an air sign here. Okay, firstly, I want to begin the reading by saying that you have to, given the mental energy in this spread here, you have to think back to, you know, why the two of you broke it off in the first place. And you have to sort of lean in towards that. So why is it that it didn't work out between the two of you? Okay, it may have started off on a really good note, but why is it that the connection stopped growing or it didn't manifest in the way that you wanted it to have manifested? Okay, there's obviously something there that sort of hindered the connection from going. There was obviously some unwanted blockages, and you know, a lot of the times when you do think back on this person, there was probably a lot of visions that you held for this person and the connection, and you probably, you know, attach yourself to these visions. And that's what really makes it hard moving on from someone, is when we keep thinking about the fantasy, you know, the fantasy narrative that we tell ourselves of what could have been. Because if it could have been, it would have been, guys. So I feel like that's very important for some of you to hear. And to be honest with you, if the two of you do come back and reconnect and try to work things out again, I don't necessarily see there being a lot of positive developments. And that's just what the cards are telling me here. Now, someone here has a lot of holding patterns that I feel like prevented this connection from truly thriving and flourishing in the way that it should have. And it feels like some of these holding patterns definitely created a barrier. Someone here I feel like was really very emotionally guarded, very emotionally reserved, and maybe it's your energy here, but it feels like they didn't quite allow themselves to fully open up to you, and you actually didn't get to know them on a very personal and intimate level. Not your fault, but I feel like it's just because your person had their walls up, they had their guard up, and it feels like, it doesn't make them a bad person, but it just feels like they weren't ready here, okay? They were a little bit hesitant, they had their reservations, they had, you know, their doubts here about opening up and letting you in. And to me, it feels like something to do with the timing, because I do feel like there was someone else that they may have been involved with, or it could have been like a past energy, a past person whom your romantic partner here was not necessarily over. And that sort of prevented them from the fact that they didn't move on from their ex or from the previous connection, or they didn't move on from the hurt and the pain that it stemmed from that relationship. It prevented your connection from going, because we cannot possibly write a new chapter if we keep rereading the old one, right? So what I see based on your cards here, if you do guys happen to reconnect together, I'm seeing the same behavioral patterns playing out, the same holding patterns playing out. I don't think your person is ready. And to be honest with you, maybe you're not quite ready yourself as well. But I just feel like there's still a lot of decisions that your person is unable to commit to, okay? So, you know, opening themselves up, becoming vulnerable. I don't even know that they're emotionally available. There's a lot of conflict in your energies. So the two of you may have argued a lot, disagreed, or you guys may have just been, you know, mismatched with one another from the start. And despite your best efforts, despite you guys really wanting to make it work, those clashes, those ego clashes, or those differences here became really apparent as the connection went on. So again, if the two of you do reconnect, I mean, I feel like it's going to mean that you're going to slip back to how things were, okay? And you cannot possibly have the connection grow in that same energy field in which the two of you broke it off. And if a lot of you do spend some time, you know, thinking or holding regrets about what could have been and what could have transpired, I don't think you jeopardize the connection, because a lot of you, I feel like, being water energies, you can be very selfless and you can be very quick to incriminate yourselves in some ways. So to me, it doesn't feel like it's anything you said or you did wrong. To me, it just felt like, you know, your person wasn't a bad person, but it just felt like they weren't ready. And from what I can see, I don't think that they're still ready. There's some blockages around their energy. I still feel like they haven't necessarily wrapped up their feelings, or they haven't necessarily closed their chapter on their previous romantic connection. I'm also seeing that there is some hurt that your person is burdened with, and they need to be able to heal any past insecurities or past hurts. So if the two of you come back together now, based on the time that the energies and the reading is being done, it won't work. Okay, you'll naturally keep stumbling upon those same blockages, barriers, holding patterns that you've experienced earlier on in the connection. In fact, I feel like it was a good decision to separate or to disconnect, because otherwise you'd just be beating a dead horse. Because it's, again, you know, it's this mismatched energy. It's not being ready. It's being emotionally unavailable. It's not being decisive here, right? So I feel like a person is still in that energy where they haven't made up their mind and they're still hurting, and, you know, their energy feels very stagnated. I don't know that they're opening themselves up to new experiences as well. So you'll just naturally go back to the same old arguments, disagreements, to the same old conversations where you guys talk but not a whole lot is being said, you know, where you keep getting burdened with these thinking, and where you keep doubting yourself and doubting the connection. So if the two of you do come back together, that's what the cards are predicting for you, okay? That same sort of chaos and that same sort of turmoil that you experienced earlier on. It's very easy to, as I've mentioned earlier on, it's very easy, and I feel like it's very normal too, to just attach yourself to the fantasy and to keep yourself telling that, you know, that narrative and that illusion of what could have been, okay? And that's what I feel like keeps you coming back to this person, and that's what keeps circling your thoughts back to them. But at the end of the day, you know, if it could have been that really great and wonderful, it would have been, okay? But the fact that it was what it was, and I feel like if you come back together, your person hasn't done a lot of growing or evolving since you've separated or disconnected, and it seems like they're embarking on their inner journey here. It just seems like you guys, you're off in two very different directions, and that's the other reason as to why you guys have separated here. They have to do some inner work. They got to work on themselves, and, you know, the places that you're going and the people that you're meeting, they're not ready for all of that. This is why there's been that, you know, separation, and there's been that disconnection, because they're not going where you're going, so you couldn't possibly take them with you on your journey. All right, and these are your messages. Thanks as always for watching and listening. Please show your support by subscribing to the channel, liking, commenting, sharing. If you're after a personal reading, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, bye for now.